The White Inn by Anonymous. Once upon a time, there was an inn at Ponthieu known from its appearance as the White Inn. The people who kept it were both good and honest. They were known to be punctual at their Easter duties, and no one ever thought of counting money after them. It was at the White Inn that travelers would stop to sleep, and horses knew the place so well that they would draw up of their own accord before the stable door. The headsman of the harvest one had brought in short, gloomy days, and one evening, as Flock the landlord was standing at the White Inn door, a traveler, evidently of importance, and mounted on a splendid foreign steed, reined up his horse, and lifting his hand to his hat, said courteously, "I want a supper and a bedchamber." Flock drew first his pipe from his mouth, and then his hat from his head, and answered, "God bless you, sir, a supper you shall have, but as to a room, we cannot give it you, for we have now above 6 muleteers on their way home to Redon, who have taken all the beds of the White Inn." 178. The traveler then said, "For God's sake, my good man, contrive for me to sleep somewhere. The very dogs have a kennel, and it is not fitting that Christians be without a bed in such weather as this." "Sir stranger," said the host remorsefully, "I can only tell you that the inn is full, and we have no place for you but the Red Room." "Well, give me that," replied the stranger. But the landlord rubbed his forehead and looked grieved, for he could not let the traveler sleep in the Red Chamber. "Since I have been at the White Inn," said he at last, "only 2 men have ever occupied that room, and on the morrow, black as had been their hair the night before, they rose with it snow white." The traveler looked full at the landlord. "Then your house is haunted by the spirits from another world?" asked he. "It is," faltered the landlord. "Then God and the Blessed Virgin be merciful to me. I will sleep there, but make me a fire and warm my bed, for I am cold." The landlord did as he was ordered. When the traveler had finished supper, he bade good night to all at table and went up to the Red Chamber. The landlord and his wife trembled and began to pray. 179. The stranger, having reached his room, began to look about him. It was a large flame-colored chamber, with great shining stains upon the walls that might well have been taken for the marks of fresh spilt blood. At the further end, there stood a 4-post bed, surrounded by heavy curtains. The rest of the room was empty, and the mournful whistling of the wind came down the chimney and the corridors, and sounded like the cries of souls beseeching prayers. The traveler, kneeling down, prayed silently to God, then fearlessly got into bed, and soon slept soundly. But lo, at the very moment when the hour of midnight sounded from a distant church tower, he suddenly awoke, heard the curtain rings sliding on their iron poles, and beheld them open at his right hand. He was going to get out of bed, but his feet striking against something cold, he recoiled in terror. There stood before him a coffin, with 4 lighted candles at the corners, and covered with a great black pall that glittered as with tears. The stranger turned to try the other side of his bed, but the coffin instantly changed places and barred his way out as before. 5 times he made an effort to escape, and 180 every time the bier was there beneath his feet, with the candles and the funeral pall. The traveler then knew it was a ghost who had some boon to ask, and kneeling up in bed, he made the holy sign and spoke. "Who art thou, departed one? Speak, a Christian listens to thee." A voice answered from the coffin, "I am a traveler murdered here by those who kept this inn before its present owner. I died unprepared, and now I suffer in purgatory. What needs there, suffering soul, to give thee rest? I want 6 masses said at the church of Our Lady of Falgoat, and also a pilgrimage made for my intention by some Christian to Our Lady of Rumingal." No sooner had these words been uttered than the lights went out, the curtains closed, and all was silence. The stranger spent the night in prayer. The next morning he told the landlord everything, and said, "My good friend, I am M. de Rohan, of family as noble as the noblest now in Brittany. I will go and make the pilgrimage to Rumingal, and I will see that the 6 masses shall be said. Trouble yourself no more, for this suffering soul shall rest in peace." 181. Within the short space of 1 month, the red room had lost its crimson hue and become white and cheerful as the others. No sound was heard there but the swallows twittering in the chimney, and nothing could be seen but a fair white bed, a crucifix, and a vessel of holy water. The traveller had kept his word. 182. 1 Dibaniast, a name given to autumn in Brittany.